Okay, so the last time I asked you to just pause the clips and have a look and see how you did with the stanza 2, I just wanted to run through to see if we got some things that are similar. So, did you pick up on the use of sensory language? So again, it makes us feel like we're in his shoes. He's talking about what he can hear, what he can feel, what he can see. So we've got the sense of sight. He's watching, almost as if he's distant and separate. So I indicated far off and watching and labelled that as him feeling separate, which actually is an interpretation. Almost as if he's disconnected from his body, and is that because of the weather? Is that because he is so cold that he feels numb to everything? Again, lots of different ways that you could interpret that. Did you pick up on the mad gusts, personified use of the wind there? And I was thinking mad, what did that make me think of? Madness, insanity, uncontrollable. Is this again, just like he was talking about merciless, is this weather, is this wind uncontrollable, something that he can't do anything about and he feels powerless, essentially? There's nothing he can do to protect himself against this wind. And is that worse than the idea of death from another human being during war? That violent image, though, is definitely in there when he uses this simile of the wind against the barbed wire looks like twitching agonies of men. So that he's got an image of death there, and I think he uses that comparison of seeing the barbed wire twitching because he's seen men do the same thing on the barbed wire. He's seen men getting stuck or trapped because they've died among the forest, the floor, nature, and that's a visual image that's stuck with them, that they're stuck replaying over and over whilst they're there. Did you pick up on the adverb incessantly, which means non-stop, that idea that it's never ending? It feels like they're stuck on this never-ending feeling of powerlessness and stuck in war that they can't escape from. And did you pick up on the simile here, like a dull rumour of some other war? So he's talking about being able to hear in the background the guns, but it's dull. He doesn't feel there, he feels separate, and I think you could see that on two different levels. Is he separate because there's no fighting that's happened in his area in quite a while? Or does he feel separate because he's so cold physically that his mind is almost trapped inside him? He's so cold he can't feel anything on the outside, which would link to the title of exposure. He could die from hypothermia. And then they've got this structural feature here. Did you find this question? What are we doing here? And you could see that from lots of different perspectives. Is he talking about here in that particular place, being cold, what's his next move, what's his next step, what's the logistics? Or is he talking about why are they there at war? Is it a bigger moral question? What is the point of war? And why are they in that situation in the first place? So lots of different things that you could write about in that section there. Okay, stanza 3. A couple of words that I think you would probably want to know, because that adds to the emotive language that you used, is poignant. I think poignant misery is quite an important one here. We've got the adjective, poignant, which means distressing. And then the noun, misery. We know that it's a noun because of the misery. So this emotion has been turned into a thing, something real, something that's taking over their lives, essentially. Okay, this is how he feels, miserable. And another word that I think is quite important is melancholy. Look at the adjective there. This, again, melancholy could mean depressed. The army is distressed and depressed. Again, we know that this is quite an emotional poem, and we know that that's been done on purpose, and again, that makes these two words quite important. What we do get as well from a structural perspective here is, and I know this was up here as well, but we've got the ellipsis. The And ellipsis' purpose is to cause this kind of cliffhanger, this pause moment. And I think that happens quite a lot because ultimately they're constantly waiting, and it's the sense of waiting for what they have no idea will come. Are they going to die in war? Are they going to die from the weather? Are they going to die from gunshots? Or will they survive? So I think that represents the cliffhanger for their lives. You know, they have no idea what is going to happen next, and that might be completely petrifying and frightening for the soldiers. So make sure you don't just put that it's a cliffhanger. Make sure you say the cliffhanger because they have no idea what's coming next. Another structural feature that's quite important is this list here, and a lot of this list is more focused on the weather. So we only know war lasts, rain soaks, and clouds sag stormy. So this list of 3 that we've got here is more focused on the weather. But again, it's so pessimistic. War lasts. We don't know how long. He's just stating lasts, almost as if it's endless. Rain soaks. Look at the use of that word. It's not gets you wet. It's not a little bit. Soaks is in, almost as if it's in his soul. It's gone through his skin, saturated by it. And again, it links back to the idea of being endless. He's never dry. He's never okay. So soaked, saturated. And then we get the alliterative description here, clouds sag stormy. And I think it's emphasising and linking, I suppose, to how they feel. Sag, if you think of what your body would literally do if you sagged, everyone's feeling quite low, the clouds are quite low, it's ominous, it's threatening, stormy, links to the idea of war and danger and destruction. So lots of things that you can say about this list of 3 here. Dawn massing, so we've got the repetition of dawn here, time of day. Okay, so it's almost that time where it's so quiet and you have too much time to think, perhaps, and they're just stuck there. There's no escape there. Does that signify a positive or negative image? Again, we've talked about this melancholy army. So he's talking about a group of people here, this depressing group of people. It's not just one, it's everybody. Attacks once more in ranks on shivering ranks of grey. So the verb attack, again, a lot of the phrases that are used here are linking the images he's seen of people dying in war with the weather. So attacks once more, he's talking here again about how the weather is attacking them physically and making them feel. And the use of the colour grey is quite important as well. Links to that idea of clouds. This dull, endless, and again, grey, you could talk about the grey of weapons as well. It's a very negative colour and image to use. And then we get this anaphora, which is the repetition of a full line here, which you'll notice as you go through the poem, comes up again and again. And it's almost this frustration now. The fact it's being repeated so many times, I think, reflects this frustration, annoyance. Nothing's happening, nothing's happening. They're stuck there waiting. And again, I think that's just him exposing the truth. Why don't you pause the clip again and see if you can have a go at the next stanza, stanza 4.